Hey you guys, what's going on? It's Pikachu the Atheist. Of course, I'm not really feeling so good. I got a little sniffle in my nose, and of course, I've been coughing up like crazy lately. So, the flu's going around, and of course, Pokemon can catch some things sometimes, so a little bit funny, isn't it? But anyhow, today we're here to debunk the old argument from Omniscience. Remember last week when I made a video about the circle of knowledge? Well, see, Christians, it seems, believe that you have to be omniscient to gain any sort of knowledge outside of that little speck. Woo! This brings up the argument from Omniscience. Well, as described by Rational Wiki, the argument from Omniscience occurs when somebody thinks they literally know everything about a subject at hand. The fallacy is commonly expressed with words like all, everyone, no one, everything, always, or never. The problem with such an argument is twofold. First, that an arguer would need omniscience to know about everyone's beliefs or about everything in existence. And secondly, because the arguer does not have omniscience, they are often wrong. The argument is an informal fallacy and is theoretically the opposite of an argument from ignorance. However, because it relies on things that the speaker cannot know, it functions as an argument from ignorance and fails for the same reasons. Let's say that there was a third-class passenger who was trapped on board the Titanic and was killed. Normally, you would not be able to tell anything about this person at all. Now let's say that you were omniscient. You would know exactly who the person was from birth all the way to death, and exactly the exact effects of what would have happened to cause the person to live and die, etc. But this would in fact cause a problem when determining whether you have the freedom to choose to save this person or not to. Would you have the freedom to save them? Answer is profoundly no. As stated by Google, the argument from free will, also called the paradox of free will or theological fatism, contends that omniscience and free will are incompatible and that any conception of God that incorporates both properties is therefore inherently contradictory. The idea comes from the thought that if you were omniscient, you could not control any aspect of your own self or anything around you, as you would not have the ability to do so, knowing all possible outcomes. In the scenario with the third-class passenger, somebody with an ability to think for themselves could very possibly save that person, even though they would be putting themselves in danger. Somebody, of course, who knows all outcomes would not have the ability to even think freely for themselves to be able to save that person. This is a big deal. Christians, I really think you should look at what I'm saying here and just try to go delve it over a little bit, because, the argument from Omniscience, in conclusion, is completely bullshit. And for good reason. You cannot be omniscient and be able to have free will. Period. This comes because somebody wrote a comment on my last video saying, or not on my last video, but on Google Plus, on my Google Plus post for my last video, saying about, that the circle of knowledge, is real, and that, of course, making the illusion that you have to have some kind of omniscience to know something beyond the little speck of knowledge. That's not true. That's not true at all. I mean, that's not how knowledge works. Knowledge is like somebody else had said, it's like a gamete, or basically a three-dimensional structure that has an infinite amount of depth. That's pretty much all it is. But to claim that you have to know everything in the whole universe to know outside that speck is just ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. If you like the channel, rate, comment, and subscribe. If you really, of course, want to support me, you can support me on Patreon and donate $2. And, of course, you will get my script rights, of course, when I write them. Thank you. Hello?